Distribution provided by Cloud Sigma, the cloud that adapts to you. Visit cloudsigma.com/thisweekin for a free $200 credit. This Week in Startups is brought to you by Igloo, an intranet you'll actually like. Visit igloosoftware.com/thisweekin for a chance to win a $150 iTunes gift card. And by GoToMeeting. Sign up for GoToMeeting using promo code START to begin your free trial.
Hey everybody, it's This Week in Startups. Today on the program, I am super excited because I have the founder and CEO of DeviantArt. He has the most successful startup in Los Angeles, 65 million uniques. I'm trying to figure out if there's any startup in Southern California that has more uniques, and the only one I can think of is Hulu, and I don't think they're at 65 million yet. This is going to be a very special episode, one of the most underrated, unknown, 65 million uniques. It's a top 30 or 40 site in the United States, and we've got him here today, DeviantArt. Thank you, Michael Robertson, for the suggestion. Great get on the program.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah, money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah, we ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of This Week in Startups, the program where we talk about startup companies, entrepreneurship, making a dent in the universe, trying to build something that's a little better than what came before it. This show is not for Gen Y losers. This is for Gen Y, Gen X, Gen Z, baby boomers who actually are going to work every day, busting their ass, trying to make something of substance. If you're looking to get life fulfillment and go ride a bicycle across China to help the migrant workers, then tune out. There's some cause-based channel. Go to Causecast. Go somewhere where you can revel in all the greatness that is you being lazy and trying to worry about other people's problems. This is a show for people who want to make stuff. Make a dent in the universe, like Steve Jobs says. People who want to crush it, as Gary Vaynerchuk would say. People who can manage their own psychology, like Chris Sacca would say. I'm just going to quote all the amazing guests we've had on this program, and today it will be no different. We have Angelo Sotira, but really Soterakopoulos. He's a Greek, Soterakopoulos. And he is the co-founder and CEO of DeviantArt, and I'll be introducing him in a second. And boy, am I excited, because Michael Robertson was on the program last week, and I was asking him, like, hey, what's your favorite CEO, favorite company, whatever. And he just said, this DeviantArt thing is huge. 65 million unique visitors a month, top 30 or 40 site. We're going to get into that, exactly how big it is. But it came out of nowhere. And I've known about DeviantArt for a while. I thought this was like 2 or 3 million people a month going to it. I thought it was a niche thing. It has broken out, and we're going to find out how it broke out today and how they built community. This is perhaps the largest community on the internet. Let me state that again. The largest community on the internet. I'm not taking social networking out, which really isn't community, because it's not like one group revolved around a specific topic. But this is a specific group of people just nerding and geeking out to art. And art's big, and it's global, and there's 65 million uniques. It's extraordinary. It's going to be a great interview. But before we get into that, let me tell you about a great piece of software and a great new partner we have here at This Week in Startups. It's called Igloo, and Igloo is an intranet that you'll actually like and you'll actually use. And we've started using it here, and it has been transformative to our business. And again, we only take products and services that we really love and use. And Igloo was introduced to us. We started playing with it. We turned down like 3 or 4 out of 5 people who want to partner with us on the program, but we said to this, this is actually something we need. So here it is. We use Igloo inside the company, and we do things like put all of our sponsors into our intranet. And so there is MailChimp and Igloo and New Relic and, I'm supposed to not see New Relic. That's a new sponsor coming up. Forget about that. Hiscox, all the Snap terms. Oh, that's another sponsor you're not supposed to know about. Geez, we're crushing it on sponsorships. Go Jason DeMont. Anyway, here, if you click on the Igloo software folder on our intranet, the Igloo software team has access to this, and we're putting in all the pre-rolls and all the logos and all that stuff that we need. Then we put the calendar in here. Then I have my team debating inside the intranet, like what we're going to do for the show and who's on the show and who do we think should be on the show and what's going on. It's basically like our private conversation. And then here you can see another company, Wugspace, for this IT management, and they're doing surveys of their employees and how 2 articles like wikis, and they have forums, and they're really pulling together in a wiki and in a message board format, and sharing files, and it's an extranet as well. It's like all the great features, and it's so easy to use. We got it literally set up in minutes here. It's the intranet you're really going to want to use, and we've been having a great time with it. And here's a great thing. You may have seen today, I don't even know what today's date is. I think it's October or something. Anyway, point is, the iPad mini came out today, and Igloo is going to give one of those away for free. Go to igloosoftware.com/thisweekend. igloosoftware.com/thisweekend. Igloo Software, IGLOOSOFT, we can have to spell software.com/thisweekend. And you will see, I'm just here for the free iPad mini. They get it. They know you might just want to get the free mini. You go, you sign up, you try it, you win the iPad mini. And I bet you your chances are going to be pretty good. So go there and win one of those iPad minis and get a 30-day free trial. Other big companies use them, by the way. You may have heard of this one, Deloitte. NetApp, huge. BlackBerry, huge. Hospice, IDC. They've got a lot of great, huge companies using their product, and the product is fully hosted and managed in the cloud with a secure business, very secure for business. I mean, they understand they're in business. This is really important information to keep secure. And listen, if you really love this program, you love the Sokka interview, you love the David Henmeyer Hansen interview, you love having Michael Robertson on the program, if you appreciate what we're doing here and how my team is literally busting their ass, I mean, trust me, you do not want to work for a guy like me, because I mean, you hear the insanity in the pre-show when I'm like dressing people down and yelling at them, oh my God, we got to make the audio better. Oh my God, we got to get better guests. Oh my God, we got to get the better cameras. I'm going crazy trying to make the show better. And that requires partners. And I don't charge for this program. You're not paying for this. And this is like getting an MBA. Every week I get a new MBA listening to these great founders and entrepreneurs. And it takes partners like Igloo Software. And so it is your humble duty to go ahead and thank Igloo Software. Thank you at Igloo Software on your Twitter account. Go ahead and go to igloosoftware.com/thisweekend.com. All right, so we were having just you probably heard this, Angelo, last week.
Yeah.
We have the news program.
Yep.
Michael Robertson blows you up on the program.
This is what happened.
You got blown up on the show. They blew you up.
Yeah, that was very nice of him.
What exactly did he say? I was asking, what was the question I asked him? I can't remember exactly what I asked. It was like, which startup you think has got the most potential?
Something about Forbes 40 under 40.
Yeah, we talked about the Forbes 41, and he said...
And he was saying that's, I wasn't on it, but he was saying I should have been.
Right.
Yeah.
And DeviantArt, you started when and why?
So we started DeviantArt in August of 2000. We really started building it around April. Mm-hmm. That's well over 12, going on 13 years. So.
Wow. So it's just another overnight success.
Yeah, just another overnight success.
Another 12-year overnight success, as we like to say in the business.
And, it really started, it's a very nerdy beginning. I mean, the truth is that we were kind of all coming out of the MP3 community, so all these like winamps and mp3.coms, which is how I know Michael and these things. And Winamp had a skin component where you could change the look and feel of it.
Sure.
So
Winamp was, for people who don't know, iTunes before iTunes existed.
Yeah.
If you wanted to manage WAV files, pre-MP3s, but eventually MP3s, if you wanted to manage your music files on your computer, you used Winamp.
Yeah, and look at visualizations while the music's playing and all that kind of fancy stuff.
All this stuff that Apple eventually cribbed and put into iTunes.
Exactly. So you could change the look and feel of Winamp, and I had built, with another guy, this site called Winamp Facelift, so you could change the look and feel of it. We met all these artists on that platform.
And why'd you build that? How old were you when you built that?
Well,
why did you build it?
I was like 16. So, I started...
16?
Yeah.
So you're in high school.
Yeah.
You're a Winamp nerd.
Yes. Well, I'm more than that. I mean, I'm an MP3 nerd. So I'm like running the biggest blog for MP3s at that point in time.
Really?
And it's all about like the audio codecs and the encoding, technologies and the battle between the different MP3 players.
And you just found that fascinating when you were 16 years old?
Well, I wanted to build a music site.
But why were you so fascinated with the internet and MP3s? Did your parents buy you a computer early on? Was your mom and dad into computers? How did you wind up getting inspired to make I'm just fascinated by a 16-year-old starting a company. Yeah,
so I get a computer when I'm about 10. By 12, I'm on BBSs, and I'm learning that you can play video games on them, right?
Sure.
And
it's
so...
interesting. We just had a discussion yesterday on the program with somebody who also started in the bulletin board area.
Yeah.
It was Jonathan Abrams,
right.
Friendster.
Yes.
He was a BBS sysop in the 80s.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I rose to power, I guess, on this BBS where I could command everyone and kick people off the thing, and it was really fun. So and I became a really good Doom player during those years, which Doom and Quake were kind of a big deal.
This is the 90s.
This is the 90s.
Yeah.
So from there you end up just meeting a lot of really interesting people that you connect with more so than you did kids at your local school. And I don't want to position myself as like a nerdy kid. The truth is I was like I was the number one high jumping kid in the private schools of upstate New York.
You weren't like some Asperger's kid who couldn't look people in the eye or something like that. You were a popular kid who just also happened to see the potential in technology.
Yeah, I just wasn't particularly stimulated by the local availability of friends, and using these BBSs, I started having these really wonderful conversations. When BBSs kind of, went out as the internet came in, I found myself on IRC. I met a lot of smart people there. And then the MP3 codec popped up in like 94. So 94.
That was pretty inspiring.
Yeah, deeply inspiring. I mean, for the first time, MIDIs, sounded terrible and MP3s sounded like CDs. And to download one took only 20 minutes,
Right. You could download a song in 20 minutes and people started trading rare tracks. I mean, the Grateful Dead, Fish, this was part of and Usenet really popularized MP3, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely IRC, F-serves. This is where Napster launched. This is how Winamp got its distribution. This was the whole explosion there. And by the time I'm 15, 16 years old, I'm running this big blog, and Zing Technology Group, which was an encoding software, and Music Match are both my advertising clients. And I'm pushing $40,000, $50,000 a month worth of ads through my network.
Wow.
And I'm selling them myself.
At the age of 16 or 17.
Yeah.
So you got a really fast course in business. Now, is this because you're Greek? I know your name is Sotira Kopoulos.
Angelo Sotira, yeah, but Sotirakopoulos is my full name. I cut that when I was 17 on a phone call with a Wired News reporter.
Right.
Just right there on the spot. I didn't even know I was going to do it.
You were just like, they're going to misspell it anyway.
Exactly.
Oh my God, so many times. How do you pronounce Sotirakopoulos? Yeah. It's like, how do you pronounce Kalakanis? It's like constantly.
You're Greek.
I am Greek.
Yeah, I didn't know
I'm my Greek
I don't know
brother.
how to piece it together. Yeah.
Well, they changed my name at Ellis Island. It was supposed to be Kalikanis, which means to do well or have done well in Greek, and it's K's. But at Ellis Island, they told my grandfather, like, what's your name? It's Kalakanis. And he said, okay, Kalakanis. He goes, no K's. He goes, yeah, we don't use that American C's. Kalakanis, how you say it here. Got our name changed at Ellis Island. Free of charge. Free of charge. Go Ellis Island.
I didn't get this, so I had to butcher my own.
So keep going. So you decide at some point, you make the skins for Winamp.
Yeah, so long story short, look, I mean, you're in this world, your MP3 is blowing up, MP3.com is launching later in the game, and Napster launched out of one of my chat rooms on FNet. So I was one of the first copies of that. I watched that kind of slingshot, crazy. And
so Sean Fanning is in one of your IRC chat rooms, and
yeah, we used to all hang out.
Sean Parker were all hanging out, and
yeah,
launched Napster.
Yeah, pound Napster, and it needed protection, so you had protection bots and defense bots and attack bots, and it was a kind of a crazy world back then. I love talking about it, but
no, IRCs are awesome.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, keep going.
So anyway, we end up building Winamp Facelift, and that was really successful. But then there were some other sites that had all other applications. And long story short, we figure out, hey, look, the right formula here is that as we talk to these artists, we realize that they don't just make Winamp skins; they also make graphic designs, tattoos, paintings. And somebody posted a JPEG of a painting, and that was mind-blowing because nobody had digital cameras back then.
Right.
And it was one of the first digital camera shots I'd ever seen on the internet. It was a JPEG. Took a long time to download, and it was of a painting that was leaning up against the wall. And at the age of 19 or so, this was just kind of a mind-boggling experience. I didn't know any artists that were friends of mine or in my peer group.
Right.
And it was something that really captivated my mind that this was even a possibility at that moment.
Right.
So when we set off to build DeviantArt, we were fully engaged in wanting to launch a platform that enabled an open category structure so that anytime a community member would ask for a category, we would launch it. And we launched with 12, photography, traditional art, digital art, these things, and the site exploded. So 15 or so other sites that did similar stuff just disappeared within half a year.
Wow.
And this was the preeminent leader in that space. And it never changed. I mean, it was really, really tough just during that time. Obviously 2000 is when the dot-com crash happened.
Right.
Being at an entertainment property, quote unquote, was really silly to people.
Yeah.
I couldn't find investors. It was very difficult to get
community and
support.
content, both of those things are just huge red flags to VCs to stay away.
Yes. Yeah, especially in that year. Yeah.
In those years, especially. I mean, the years 2002 and 2003 were the darkest among startup years.
Yeah, it was terrifying to be this young and to have this property blowing up, needing servers. We're reaching an enormous scale, and no one's there to really appreciate it. In fact, people are saying we're crazy for doing it.
And so back then, your server bills were starting to be tens of thousands of dollars a month. This is before cloud computing and before cheap bandwidth.
Yeah, so here in Los Angeles, there's a little company. If you drive down Santa Monica Boulevard, it says Emser. And Emser Tile is this company, and this guy Ellis works there. He happened to be a friend of my, one of our initial, Andrew, who's now our CTO and funded the company. And we had him go in to negotiate a Cogent contract. If it wasn't for that guy, we would not be here.
And Cogent back then was just gangster in terms of like how much you were going to spend and how long you were committed.
Well, average was $90 a megabit, $90 per megabit per second for a connection, right? So this was completely unaffordable if you were, at our size and scale, and in terms of revenues. And then Cogent came out and they were saying $30, and to us that was still unreasonable. I mean, that was still an unfathomable number. But Ellis got us to 10, and I don't even know how he got us to 10. But we got a $10 megabit per second deal in 2001 and 2.
Right.
And that's what kind of carried us through. The next thing before that was actually Travis Kalanick's company at Uber.
Yeah.
We ran their web service solution at Red Swoosh, and that actually helped for a minute as well. So we were using creative mechanisms to do it.
Using basically a peer-to-peer CDN.
Yeah.
Technology to lower your bandwidth costs.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. You had a website, we were forcing you to install a client in order to serve a website. That was crazy.
So this site has been around for so long now, it's almost in a way like Craigslist. The design of the site has not changed in how long? The user interface. It generally looks to me like it did. I mean, it's obviously gotten a little more refined, but the UX experience has been very consistent over the 12-year lifespan, correct?
Yes.
Have you done a major UX? When was the last time you did a major UX design, and what is your philosophy of that? Because it feels very Craigslist-like, and we don't want to change this user interface and screw people up. It's not worth it to make something beautiful for us or that we think is more functional when so many millions, tens of millions of people know how to navigate it already.
It's very, you do deal with a legacy design problem. Right. We redesigned, we're in version 7 of DeviantArt. Yeah. So version 7 launched in 2008, I believe. And that kind of brought us up to a unified bar at the top, one single line, and then the content immediately after it. Which we see here,
yes. Profile, gallery, prints, etc.
Yeah.
And so tell me, how many pieces of artwork have been submitted? I'm looking at Art Germ right now, and newest deviations. You've got that great nomenclature to go through the site. Very clever. And this person's been a member for 8 years, Deviant for 8 years, carrying that Deviant branding through.
Yes.
18 months, he's had the premium membership, so he's shouting that out. 10 million page views for their art, 2,700 comments, and 352 deviations. What's a deviation?
Deviation, we just had fun with this in the early years. So a deviant is a member, a deviation is a work of art that they submit, and so on and so forth. Being devious is a thing.
Yeah, and so I can watch this person, send them a note, I can give them a present. How does the give work? And what is this, giving points and giving a llama badge and giving a cake badge?
Some of this is experimentation with virtual goods and learning a lot about this sub-community. So you're kind of getting into a very specific aspect of our community. Not everybody engages in this type of activity.
Of course not, right.
But llama badges were kind of an explosion. Our premium membership is one of our very strong revenue models. Our point system is another very strong revenue model. And giving a llama badge was actually a marketing campaign that I devised so that everybody would learn how to use our virtual points ecosystem. So when we launched it, we had an explosion on our network. Roughly, 70 or 80 million llamas were given to people. It turned into about 35 llamas being transacted per second.
Wow, that's a pretty high llama per second average.
It was a very,
I've heard of a lot of LPSs, and that's up there.
That's up there, yeah.
That's up there on an LPS scale. So tell me about your point system. When did you put the point and badge system in? Because obviously that's something, game mechanics, that people in the last 2 years have really gotten into. When did you put this stuff in?
2-3 years ago, 4 years ago. We were looking at some of the Facebook stuff. We were going, I don't know about this, and and we thought we could do something more fun.
Right. And what impact has that had on the system? Do people like points and gaining points? Do they like giving llamas? Do you risk screwing up your community by introducing that kind of stuff? How do you know it's okay to introduce, and how do you introduce it to the community?
So we saw a financial opportunity, and we saw a fun opportunity. The truth is that we've taken the pedal off of that business, because we found that the more serious members, so it's a multi-million-dollar business if you want it to be. You can go in this direction and generate a tremendous amount of revenue at DeviantArt, but it offends some of the more professional artists, some of the more serious tonality.
Gotcha. So pulling back from that. So let's talk about the number of pieces of art on the site. How many pieces of original art are added per day?
200,000, about 188,000 a day. Uniquely submitted, so you have to describe each one when you're posting.
So it's not like I can just steal 10 JPEGs off of Twitter and dump them in there. It takes work.
Can't put 10 up at a time. Nope.
Yeah. How many can you put up at a time?
One.
One per day?
You can put as many as you want per day,
right.
But you have to go through the form each time. High friction.
And how do you, so that you create high friction, why?
Because that's the secret to a successful community, right? I mean, if you have to have a higher degree of intent to publish your work, and so here's the value. If you click on our newest section.
Hey, show a screen there. Okay, we see you.
In our newest section here, okay, I get it. This isn't the best art you've ever seen, but it's art. And the bottom line is that these are artists that are developing, and they're learning from each other, and every once in a while you'll see a killer piece, even in the newest feed. Our newest feed is browsable. If you look at somebody else's newest feed, it's not browsable.
Right. And when you come to the website and you're logged in, newest is the default.
Newest is the default. Yes.
Why is that? Why not the most popular as a default? Well, you obviously made a decision there. Did you make the decision on data? Was it an emotional gut decision? Hey, I want to give props to new people as opposed to just show the most popular and keep it circular?
These types of decisions are about your philosophy and about your approach to the design of your network. If you're building a vertical community, you want to attract people that are compassionate, sensitive to the arts in this particular instance. And if you can make it past our homepage test, then you're rewarded with an enormous diversity and an intense quality of content behind those walls. But we use it as a filter.
Really?
Yeah.
So if I come and I'm a douche,
yeah,
I'm going to look at it and be like, this artist sucks.
Well, we're not ready for mainstream consumption.
Right.
So we want art, if you were to click on any one of these images, what you'll find is in-depth, beautiful commentary about the work. You'll find, either positive, constructive stuff, or you'll find, real critiques or real positive energy. This is a unique thing when you browse the internet. I mean, how easy is it to find good culture inside of
it's very hard actually, because everything is just so aggressive. I mean, look at YouTube comments, right? It's just brutal.
Let's go to 24 hours to make it easy on you.
Yeah.
And you click on any piece. Let's pick on a more I'm going really risky here.
Okay.
So let's pick this attractive girl photographed in this way, right? Now you can
provocative, 24 comments.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not what these folks are focusing on. I mean, these responses are, I certainly would not keep such a beauty waiting. Oh, that's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But because you're still dealing with
beautiful
an open community,
skin,
but you're really looking at great photo,
gorgeous, beautiful, nice picture.
Beautiful.
This is beautiful.
And even with riskier
contrast is just perfect
imagery, you're looking at artistic perspective rather than looking at.
And how do you curate that? How do you get it to the point at which, hey, this is, this one's interesting. This is like a whole S&M plus the Japanese main thing. Yeah. And a lot of it is risque and, or not a lot of it.
I wouldn't say it's a lot. I mean, it's really deceptive. So let me tell you about our homepage, which might help you with it. I mean, our homepage is the highest deterrent to a mainstream user. This is a visual frequency channel chooser. Right? And our homepage...
Visual frequency channel chooser.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to say that more eloquently, but, image number 1 and image number 2 have nothing to do with each other. Number 3 also, number 4 also. This is intentional. We have a fair exposure algorithm that... DeviantArt is an American Idol for art every single day of the year.
Right.
And it's in 3,000 some odd categories of art, and you can kind of get to the top of that. Now, on the front page, we have a responsibility to fairly expose all of those sub-communities, which means our front page is the most chaotic. You can't get a consistency of experience.
And if you get that chaos, you do get the ability for somebody new to be discovered. I mean, that is the intent?
The intent is to appeal to the, it's art nerds, right? It's people who are geeky about art, and it's a community for them to navigate and traverse. Now, you can click on any one of these categories and start getting more consistency.
Yeah.
What
percentage of the people are logged in versus not logged in? I mean, obviously, it's a very browsable site. You have 65 million uniques now.
Yeah.
Where does that put you on, like, Quantcast or something like that? That's obviously the top 100.
Yeah, it's like 65 in the United States or something like this. Let me go check it out.
Yeah, I mean, that is...
We are quantified.
Oh, you are?
Yes,
so that means it's real.
Yeah. We just changed our reporting on it because they were under-reporting some stuff.
95.
Yeah.
40 million.
Actually, you got to click on network because I don't know what this DeviantArt.com thing is, but we don't have any other sites, so network
66,
is the right one.
Yeah. And incredibly consistent every day. Lots of visits, tons of page views. I mean, the page views per visit are huge.
Yeah, and that's largely, there's a lot of logged out traffic here. Just like Wikipedia, you have not like Wikipedia because they're 1%. Our base is more like 20% of the traffic,
110 million visits per month. That is an extraordinary number of visits on a global basis. And so how many people work at the company? How is it funded? What's the business of it? Because you said before your co-founder helped fund it, I guess, or pay for the servers?
Yeah, so Andrew, brilliant guy, is our CTO. He built the Sonic MP3 player, if you recall that, back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unbelievable, mind-blowing piece of software. I tried to reel him into the company for like half a decade.
Right.
I eventually got him, but in the very beginning...
We call that a term project in the industry, something that takes a year or more. That would be like a dissertation kind of project, not just a term project, but a dissertation.
Yeah. So he and Ian Lyman, who was the other co-founder of Sonic, they invested about $17,000 in the early days. And we didn't take any funding again until about 2007. So the business had to be strong. I mean, we came out of the dot-com crash. We had to do some really intense entrepreneuring to make this thing go. And it was painful. It was wonderfully painful.
And did you think it was going to survive? I mean, was there a point at which it's like, this is hard to monetize, and you've got huge bandwidth bills?
I've lived on the edge for many, many straight years, for sure.
Really?
I mean, especially in the early days, I mean, it was a really, really interesting.
So you were doing other side work or whatever to fund this, or just 100% on this,
100%.
but just living
if it
very
couldn't make
lean?
it, I would starve. That's how I went.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you really pushed it to the edge.
Tuna fish.
Tuna fish is your mercury is off the charts.
It was then. Yeah.
And so in 2007 you took funding. Did you take funding from like a VC or angels, or was it like professional funding? And where is it at now? Because VCs see you break into the top 100 on Quantcast. That whole idea that like, content isn't fundable or community isn't fundable goes right out the window, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, so I have a complex view of this. So on the one hand...
wait a second.
Yeah.
We're 27 minutes in. I got to stop and do just a quick break.
Oh, no worries.
When we get back, I want to hear about the funding stuff and your complicated view of it. That was perfect. Let me tell you something. I am so lucky to have GoToMeeting as a partner on this program. Meeting is believing, and I do all my meetings exclusively on GoToMeeting. When I log into my account, I see like, wow, I've got 17 meetings lined up in the next 2 months, all on GoToMeeting. Even if somebody says, I want to have a phone call with you, I set it up as a GoToMeeting. Why do I do that? Because what if they want to show me something, or what if I want to show them something? It's almost like this like jazz improvisation thing, the way I use GoToMeeting. I'm like, they're talking and I start changing the screen. So they're explaining to me their business while they're explaining to me their business. And I'm thinking, maybe I should invest in this or not. I remember 2 or 3 other businesses that I've heard of that are doing something similar. I pull it up on screen. And then while they're talking, they're like, you pulled something up on screen. Yeah, we've seen that company before. And then I open another tab. I say, yeah, but have you seen this? And then I log into AngelList and I say, look, I'm looking at your profile, but you left out this piece. You should really fill that in. And by the way, you don't have a referrer. You might want to consider making me the referrer since we're friends. And I told you about Angels. And it becomes like this really great meeting. That's the power of Citrix GoToMeeting. This sort of freestyle meeting that goes very quickly and super efficiently. A phone call, it could be efficient. A meeting in person, it's kind of inefficient. People got to travel. It's a lot of wasted time, a lot of wasted expense. GoToMeeting is the ultimate in efficiency. And when you use it, you will see that meeting is believing. Group video, obviously, with HD faces is just buttery and perfect. That's why I use it for this very show. When I do a remote, we use HD faces, and we use beautiful HD Logitech cams that just do 1080p, and it is stunning. People think that I have a satellite truck or something. It's amazing. And HD Faces works on Macs, PCs, on your iPad, all that great stuff. And what I want you to do right now is go to Citrix GoToMeeting. That's GoToMeeting.com, and click on Try It Free. And use the promo code START so that you can start using meetings in your 30-day free trial. Again, the code is START, S-T-A-R-T. And thank you to my friends at GoToMeeting. Really, Citrix, great company. GoToMeeting, great product. And I use it all the time. And the people who have turned on to GoToMeeting tell me, like, Jason, this really works. Not only can I let you use my computer, you can let me use yours. We can both be in the same Word document, PowerPoint, browser. We could be both in the same browser. Think about that. And we're both, loading things. I can give you the presentation. I can take the presentation back from you. I can give it to a third party who's on the call. It just works flawlessly. And let me tell you something. The VoIP, the voice over IP technology that they use, it's better than the landline phone. So sometimes I'm like, do me a favor. Don't call me on your cell phone from your hotel room. Get a headset and use your computer and use the VoIP. And then you don't have to use up all your minutes. You're using it over IP and you've already paid for your 4G LTE connection. It's awesome. Thank you, Citrix GoToMeeting. Meeting is believing. Use the promo code START. Again, meeting is believing. Thank you so much, GoToMeeting. All right, there you go. GoToMeeting. Great product. So you have an interesting view on funding.
Yeah,
what is
for sure.
Tell us.
Well, you basically start in a world where, I'm young. I'm 19, 20. I'm in need of venture capital. Venture capital's not there.
Right.
So some time goes on, and I kind of had like a kid's, punk entrepreneur view of venture capital at that point.
Well, the site is called DeviantArt.
Well,
and
that doesn't, that's not necessarily the point. The point was just that.
Well, you're a little bit of you were a hacker kid, and so of course you're going to be a little anti-establishment.
A little.
Yeah, and you're going to have some VC suit from Harvard Business School start telling you how to run an internet company when you made it work.
Right.
And these guys don't even know how to code and get a server up. These guys don't even know how to ping a server.
Yeah, and so I think during those years we were struggling so much just to build up this institution that is DeviantArt to make it scale and grow.
Yeah.
That I didn't really have the 5-year formula that venture capital looks for. That sort of you take the money, you grow the money, you sell the, you provide liquidity, and because I didn't have that, I didn't want to turn to venture capital. So instead, I turned to strategic investors. So I took a round in 2007 from DivX. And it was a straightforward strategic round. Jordan Greenhall's a fantastic guy. We worked that out, and we ultimately launched a film section on DeviantArt. The way that we wanted to launch it, it was a really, really terrific moment for us.
So the strategic had a vested interest in seeing you succeed because DivX wants to see more video produced and shared on the internet.
And
You're
optionally
aligned.
using the DivX codec, so we did use it, but we didn't have to. That was
Right.
the nature of the structuring.
Sure.
Of how, so
It's sort of like with my show, I get like advertisers whose products I already use.
Yeah.
It just makes it really easy.
So we knew we were successful at that point. We had a lot of traffic. We had a lot of success on the internet. It was still a top 100 internet property even then. The internet was smaller then, but we also had a new metric of success because that round was raised at $135 million. So $3.5 million at 135. That's $17,000 turning into $135 million top line number with a lot of potential to grow still.
Wow. So you grew 20x.
Yeah. Well,
and those early investors grew their investment at least 20x or something to that effect.
way more than 20 because it was $17,000
invested.
Invested.
At a valuation of $1 million or something or a half
Just,
million. Low. So it could have gone 50 or 100x.
Yeah.
100x would not be out of the question. So how does that complicate things? If the angels then see their investment appreciate, did they get antsy and say, how do I cash these shares in?
Yeah, I think we've been very fortunate in the sense that, first of all, Andrew jumped in and became our CTO and still is and pushes the concept forward with us every single day. And secondly, we had folks that just really believe in the direction that we're going in.
Yeah.
We're all... We all met through community. We all met online, and we've really been the perfect management team to build maybe what is the largest community on the internet.
Yeah.
So it's been more of doubling down and investing further and further. We see an enormous potential.
Did you raise since 2007? Have you raised around?
We raised a confidential round against strategic for another $5 million.
By the way, there's 100,000 plus people download the show. It wouldn't be confidential anymore.
Oh, yeah, it's no longer confidential. But we didn't announce. It was 2010, so it's been a while.
So you did it 2010, which would have been a good time period, I guess, to do it. 2007 was hot. 2010 we rebounded.
Right.
And is that a VC or is another strategic? You said?
Another strategic, yeah.
Great. Not disclosed though.
Not disclosed.
Do they mind if you disclose or?
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll
so we'll leave it out.
But it was straightforward, and again, it was Andrew and I are still the only two folks on the board of directors. So
right. So you've just maintained complete control.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a formula that aligned with venture capital, so we had to traverse it differently, and I'm actually pretty proud of how we did it. I mean, it's been an interesting.
It's non-traditional, but you've maintained control, you've maintained your integrity, and VCs say, and this is sort of hypocritical on VCs' part, but they say, oh, don't do strategic because you're selling before you sell, and be careful, strategic money, blah, blah, blah. But the fact is, strategic money will pay a premium valuation, and their measurement for success is different than venture capitalists.
Right.
How is it different in your mind?
Well,
having worked with two of them.
I think sometimes it's just a straightforward investment of profit for strategic kind of alignment or perception, right? I mean, sometimes in the case of the second one, I think it was just aligned with where they are and where we are, and it made sense for them to learn more about our business as just a matter of fact.
Interesting. Now, who would be the strategic who would have a vested interest in art? Sotheby's?
No, nothing
Not
like
an
those.
auction house.
Yeah,
Would have to be another online vendor.
I can't tell you so.
I know, but it would be like an Amazon or an eBay would be obvious because prints and selling items, they're into transactions. And does commerce occur on DeviantArt? Do people sell the artwork? I mean, I see there's prints as a button and stuff like that.
So obviously, all these years we've had to have very strong revenue models. Advertising has been one of those fluctuating ones, goes up, goes down, hard to gauge. Premium memberships are our favorite model because it's aligned with the community. The community, buys $30 a year memberships, and we have a few hundred.
And what do you get for a
subscribers.
$30 a year membership?
You get to remove the ads and get a cleaner experience, so that you can consume the art, and you get more modules and more features on the website.
Right. So it's not absolutely necessary. It's just more convenient. And do you get the sense, as Phil from Evernote told me, that the people who do premium subscriptions, the number one reason for doing it is to support the project?
Absolutely.
So they're just giving you money because they love your product.
Yes.
That's a fascinating thing. Isn't it a wonderful, great, fascinating thing about the internet, that people believe in your product so much that they're like, here is money.
Couldn't have done it without the community in the early days, especially with that premium membership model. We still couldn't.
So I was looking at my notes here. You have 23 million people have registered.
Yes.
And premium subscribers, do you disclose that? Is it known on the site? Is it obvious on the site? Is it 1% of that?
It's not obvious. It's about 150,000.
It's almost 1%.
Yeah.
1% would be 230.
Yeah.
150,000 people paying $30 a year.
Yeah.
It's $5 million. Pure profit.
Yep.
Keeps the site up and running.
99%.
Unbelievable.
I don't know what the 1% is.
Well, you have to pay some fees or something like that. So let's talk about the printing. Like here I see the print shop original art. Do I just pay for am I paying for the cost of the artwork? Like if I want to get this is so clever. I mean, somebody using, Legos to make fun. I mean, this is hysterical. I Have You Now. And it's Darth Vader. So if I want to get this as a print, I'm paying for the print, or I'm paying for the art, or I'm paying for both. So I want a canvas. How does this split up? Does the artist say that this artwork is worth $10, or you just sell it for $23? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, the artist will basically make 50% of the profit on the product. The numbers are slightly different depending on if you're premium or not, but it's a pretty straightforward model. I mean, this is now one of the older businesses. We started it in 2002. We were really the first to offer a prints program to artists on the internet. And there's a number of different other models that have popped up, but we still do it very, very well and very much at scale. So we have, I think we have roughly 15, 20 million pieces in our collection that we sell. And it's a very interesting business. I mean, this business is very counterintuitive to a tech entrepreneur. We've learned a tremendous amount about it. I mean, the fact is that you think when you're a tech entrepreneur, you put up lots of images, they get lots of traffic, and they convert. But wall art is different than this. You tend to end up with 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 images that make up your sellers.
Yeah.
And you're constantly kind of marketing that collection. It's much more traditional than you'd think.
And can they set their own price, or is it just like there's one price for a 16-inch print? If I say hey, mine are worth $100 each time you print them out, or is it just like one set price?
They can set their prices, especially in the premium program, and we.
Who is the number one person? Who sells the most, or who amongst which artist? If I type them in right now, would have the most sales, or amongst the most sales?
Well, I'll give you some of my favorites. There's HRFM, and there's
HRFM.
HR-FM.deviantart.com. So I can pull it up for you.
You pull it up.
HR-. have not.
And what can an artist make, on DeviantArt? Is it possible to make a living there or no?
Yeah, so this is very male-oriented kind of work. A lot of guys buy this sort of stuff. And, it's very
gorgeous.
High-tech digital. I mean, I have a lot of these pieces. Here's one that I have of a Manhattan Chrysler building.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, gorgeous. And then you got Aaron Jasinski, who's one of the older members of the community, and I always like to talk about him because his pieces were really inspiring as we were building the program and that kind of
gorgeous stuff.
So, yeah, his style is really interesting.
Have people graduated from sharing their work here to then being in galleries, being in the MoMA? Do you have those kind of stories where somebody started here, got discovered by an agent?
I get these questions. It's really fun. So, yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, DeviantArt's happening at a scale that's unheard of in the arts ever before. Right. So what you have is basically, if you have a Verizon truck that shows up inside, outside of your house to install DSL or whatever, the graphic on the side of that truck, that's made by Deviant. If you see a billboard, that billboard is made by a Deviant. If you see if you like read Batman or Spider-Man or any comics, that's made by a Deviant. Like we take out, we do your laundry, we make your food. It's straight up basically Fight Club underneath all of design in many respects.
And tell me about this Odyssey 2 with Clive Barker. I see it's been pulled up on my screen here.
This is one of the absolutely coolest things we've ever done. Ron Martino runs our network. It's a division of DeviantArt that projects our success stories back on our members, and every once in a while we take on special projects. So this holiday season, we have Clive Barker, the Hellraiser, New York Times bestseller. And he is working with Ron, and they're crowdsourcing the Odyssey 2. This is the second year we've done the Odyssey project. We start with a prologue written by Clive. It's a story lead, and we crowdsource chapter 1. So we ask the community, hey, where do you think this story would go?
Wow.
Clive then edits and decides which one's going to be chapter 1 as the winner. Artwork, sculptures, everything else people want to submit to support.
Amazing.
All come with it. And over the next 8 weeks, we're going to write all 8 chapters collaboratively with the community. Never before done. I mean, this is unbelievable. The community gets to work with Clive Barker for the holidays. It's amazing.
And he picks what he likes best.
Yes.
So in a way, he's sort of setting a world in motion, setting a story in motion, and then taking this incredible energy that puts 180,000 pieces into the system a day.
Yes. Creating a world with Clive Barker.
That's an unbelievable opportunity for people.
Yes. First chapter, PhD student out of Kansas, I believe.
And now they can come to Hollywood or publishing on Madison Avenue and say, yes, I did the first chapter of Clive Barker's next work. You may have heard of him. He did Hellraiser.
Right.
Jesus, that's an incredible opportunity for somebody.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you got Aloha Lilo, Chris Sanders on the platform. Aloha Lilo is creator of How to Train Your Dragon, the director of it. So he manages these massive projects for DreamWorks. Yeah. He's the creator of Lilo and Stitch. You got, Mark Brooks that we can pull up, and he's doing Spider-Man and so on and so forth. I mean, the success stories are endless.
And is this where creative people, on TV and film, is this their farm league? Like, do they look through here to, like, instead of putting out, send me your resume, they just search here for who's the most, applauded in the system, who's the most commented on, whatever it is, and then they just poach people from here for their projects.
Yeah, I mean, it's even more than integrated into the arts and into design than that. I mean, the truth is that creative directors look at DeviantArt to see what's up and coming, to see what's edgy right now as they design their advertising campaigns.
Fascinating.
So it's an interesting...
And now you have more like this, which is sort of like Google Image. So here on the screen, I see this, spiral staircase. And then lo and behold, a lot of deviations on the spiral staircase, apparently. Lots of people doing photography, some people doing Photoshop, some people doing illustration, some people doing drawing, all different spiral staircases.
Yeah, this might look like a random collection, but if you were to click show more at the bottom, you probably can't bottom out this feed. You'll keep going and going. It's like I said, the front page is like visual frequencies. This is that one particular one.
And how does this work? Is this done like by the word spiral staircase or by...
Well, it's really the brilliance of Andrew and his team, but it's Andrew came in, looked at this problem, built over the past 3 years these really intense machine learning systems, and we now have them running alongside the DeviantArt community. So this is all human-curated results based on similarity, leveraging the extremely active community of DeviantArt and all of their collections behavior. So this is the foundation of, I mean, if you were to pivot from this view, if you were to go to the top of this feed and click, let's say, artists on the left, you're now going to see artists that make staircases like this. And now I view this as probably the
Look at this. Wow, that's crazy. So now I have found the artists and the staircases they've made.
Yeah, so this is in my view probably the biggest step forward for the arts that I've seen while I've been in them. And it's because for the first time any stylistic thing, if you go to our homepage, if you go to any piece of art on DeviantArt's network, you can get a portal into that visual spectrum. You can learn all about that style, who makes it, what it's all about, start following those artists. And, you know, this is just an unbelievably powerful thing for the creative industry. I think because it's brand new, people haven't quite figured it out yet. But this is, remember, if it's American Idol for art, all these years you could only see 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, all time. What about the past 12 years? What about going into one image infinitely and all of the images that fall into that visual spectrum that people picked it together? And that's the basis truly for our next evolution, our next big steps. I mean, this is how you're going to get the, you know, really the Pandora of art, visual Pandora of art out to market. And this is how you address the scale of the arts. I mean, I could talk to you in depth about the size of the arts as they are today. Even though we're impressive at 65 million people, that's not nearly big enough. I mean, it's just not nearly big enough for the arts.
Well, people say the word artist. It's kind of an intimidating and loaded term, isn't it? I mean, an artist is like, you are one, therefore I can't ever be one. Right. But there is, everybody has the, you know, it's sort of like that kind of a thing. When I met people who were artists in college, it was like, you either were an artist or you weren't. But with digital technology and with Instagram, we each have moments of being artistic. We you know, some civilian, non-artist civilian, might take the chances of the most beautiful photo of the day being taken by a non-artist, somebody who does not qualify themselves as an artist, is, you know, 99%, right? I mean, some random photo taken and a beautiful filter put on it is art.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, our purpose at DeviantArt is to entertain, inspire, and empower the artists in all of us. And this is exactly
in all of us.
In all of us. That's exactly the notion that's being missed.
One of the things I find fascinating, and one of the ways I use DA, as we call it in the biz, is, you know, I'm into comic books and stuff like that. I love Iron Man. And I just love geeking out to just typing in the word Iron Man and seeing that you have 92,755 deviations. And they're sorted by like popular all time or the newest. And you start going through this and you see like Iron Cat or, you know, genius stuff like hand warmers and just gorgeous photos and artwork that is much, much more interesting than the stuff that's even released by the person who owns the intellectual property of this stuff. What is Marvel or Star Wars, LucasArts, what do they think, you know, when they see all this stuff? I would suppose that looking at copyright and intellectual property, they would be, or some groups of them would be flawed and upset that you're using their intellectual property, quote unquote, and then others might be enlightened and just absolutely love this.
Yeah, I mean, not at all. They love it. I mean, the truth is that where else are they going to see a global complement to their brands and also the place from which they hire their talent?
And why are they not more involved with this? It would seem to me that they should be, you know, sanctioning the best. I mean, why isn't Marvel/Disney going in here, picking the winners, getting them on set to Iron Man, or, you know, whatever it is, just somehow.
They're doing one better. They're hiring them and bringing them into their company. I mean, at scale, right? Like you can't, I mean, from what I heard, you can't really work at Marvel unless you have 1 million page views on DeviantArt.
Wow. Well, that's fascinating.
I mean, you have to earn that cred to be on the cover of that comic book because, you know, that comic book needs to sell because that's a pretty cutthroat market. I mean, those are tough products to move.
And this is what I love. You know, like you just click on one person. Like I saw this guy, Matthias Fahlberg.
Click more like this.
And you go look at the more like this, and I'm like, are you kidding me? The Red Skull? Yeah. Oh, that is the best looking Red Skull I've ever seen.
Yeah, click on the right-hand side underneath.
More like this.
Yeah, I mean, this will give you a sense of what's going on here.
Yeah.
Because now you're getting a stylistic. Now you're talking about very specific people who collected that original image. Collected it with all of these, and it goes
so
on
Pinterest-like. In a way, Pinterest has knocked off a lot of the features that you pioneered.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that. I think they're intuitive at this point, but yeah, we certainly did.
Well,
these
come on,
things first.
intuitive, but they were intuitive to you, but they've been recognized and become the standard collections.
I mean, if you want to get a perspective on this, we were the first people to have 50 by 50 avatars on our website, right?
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, that's Twitter, right? So, I mean, we can't say that that's a knockoff. It's just that it's the right way to go about it. A personality on the internet is well demonstrated by a 50 by 50 avatar. And you only really had three options: 50 by 50, 75 by 75, 100 by 100. Right. So,
yeah, but you guys tend to figure it out
we tend
first.
to figure these things out early.
So let's talk now entrepreneur to entrepreneur. This has been a 12-year journey. Is this a lifelong journey for you? Or is there an end to this for you? I mean, does building a community like this at a certain point take over your life and then become your life? And, people need to walk away from things sometimes because you start to wonder, like, how old are you now?
31.
So do you think, like, I'm going to be 71 doing this 40 years from now, and it's going to be 10 times bigger or 1,000 times bigger? And this kind of thing, the community owns you now. Like, you can't stop. How do you contextualize this kind of amazing success? You have buyout offers all the time. People want these unique visitors. What do you do with something that is so personal and so passionate, but yet becomes such a scale business?
Our team has a mission. We have to achieve it, right? And we're signed on. I mean, there's not a person at my company that's not 300% passionate about where we're headed. And what we find is that we're going to do this until it's done. That's always been our mantra. That's always been our mission. And what it is it's a path. So artists don't have a path. There's not a clear-cut path. And I deal with this all the time. So until there's a clear lit path for artists to go from being kids learning how to draw and where they can end up being the person that is responsible for creating major properties like Spider-Man, Iron Man, etc. Until that's lit, and that's just not comic books, we're talking also graphic design. I mean, a future in the arts and having that be clear and lit. We're going to be there from the education that is necessary on the platform all the way through to the first financial opportunities you get as an artist, and and then beyond. We'll
and
always
so
be
you
there
see,
for you afterwards.
DeviantArt is here right now. You've sort of people collecting and sharing art, but you actually see the prequel to this, the first couple of steps being training people to be artists. That's not in the existing business, is it yet? I mean, it may happen ad hoc in the comments, but... I
mean, we're certainly not an official education platform, although we have some pretty wonderful partnerships coming up. There's one with the art department, TAD, and they're an accredited university at this point, so they're coming online
teaching. So you might see a
teaching.
DeviantArt Presents Illustration 1.0.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have many tools. We launched DeviantArt Miro, which is our drawing tool with our redraw functionality.
I remember that one. Yes, that's incredible.
Yeah, so you can see how art is made. You can slow it down. You can open up the tool. You can see what buttons are being clicked.
Right.
You'll see more progression in that direction. And even more so, I mean, there's back rooms to, you see this beautiful piece of art that you like. We're going to let you unlock how it was made, talk to the artist about how that was done.
So there's a
pretty
premium,
overtly.
There's a premium feature and a way for artists to make money paying it forward in a way.
That's right. That'll be premium content. So we've already we're in the alpha stages of premium content. It's already pretty successful for its size.
Yeah.
And that's where artists can make 80% of a sale. We take 20% piece.
Pretty reasonable. The standard is 70-30, so you're being very pro-artist there.
And so as you can see, there's still a lot of entrepreneurial juice in it for me, right? Like I still get completely enthused going to work every day.
So many ideas, so little time.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then post the person making this gorgeous art, you see a job board or career path of, hey, your DeviantArt URL is your resume, obviously already, but I could apply for a job at Disney through the site. You see some sort of workflow eventually for recruiting built into the site?
Yeah, I mean, a jobs board, that's a nice add-on. I actually view...
That's too easy. I mean, shouldn't it be like a whole process where I'm Disney and I have an intranet, I come in and I tag people who I want to meet, it connects me, double opt-in. Should we have a meeting or not? And it's like LinkedIn of artists.
Yeah, so let's take it. I mean, let's take it up. Let's go to like some vision for this, right? So
LinkedIn of artists sounds pretty big to me.
No, that's pretty big. It's pretty big. But
you can take it higher. Go ahead, take it higher.
Yeah, that's good.
Go ahead, let's freestyle.
Right. So the way to look at it is that the world needs a creative department. And this isn't something that the world necessarily knows. But everyone's using Twitter. We're all on the wires. We're all intersecting. And, look closely at the tattoo industry.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it's growing. Why? Well, it's because we're all seeing each other for the first time over the past 5-7 years. And we all need to look different. So what about your social media profile? What about your Twitter background? How are you going to make that customized? How are you going to make that awesome?
So I come in and say, give me a digital makeover. Yeah. And an artist just comes in and it's like, boom.
I mean, how much trouble do you have finding a kid to do Photoshop stuff for you?
Well, I have an art department now, but yes. And I have it a lot of startup companies who are like, our branding, our imaging sucks. I mean, the first thing I say to people when they pitch me on their company is, that's a terrible domain. That's a terrible logo. Your web design sucks. I mean, I have to crush a lot of people because they don't think design matters, because somebody along the way told them design doesn't matter. And they seem to have missed out on the last 5 years of Apple crushing it with design-led engineering.
Yeah.
It really does matter today. Angel investors will invest in a product based on the design.
Yes.
Or not.
Yes. So DeviantArt has for over a decade, we've had our talent graduate and go off into the world and do what they do. We've always wanted to build a bit of a graduation community that facilitated conversation between businesses, small businesses, people that need design.
The 99
services.
Designs kind of spec work.
That's a tough word. Yeah, you're right.
It's kind of hated by the DeviantArt community.
Exactly.
They hate the concept of spec work.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, they should.
Should they? I mean, artists shouldn't be able, but the other artists on those sites, I mean, in some cases, I don't use that term lightly, but they should be allowed to do what they want to do, correct?
Precisely, yeah. Right. So I mean, in the way that we look at it, at minimum, spec work should be optional. And people who sign up to these platforms should say, hey, I require spec work to be paid. Yeah. And that's pretty simple, but for some reason that seems very difficult.
Well, the person running the site doesn't care about giving that option,
It's not, look, it's a very difficult dialogue to understand. The communication of designer, client, agent, it's just a tough thing to understand. You've done this many times. You commission a designer.
Well, the Mahalo logo was done by John Hicks, and John Hicks did the Firefox logo. I just looked at the Firefox logo. I said, I love that logo. Who did it? I worked backwards. That was enough for me. I'm willing to spend a couple $1,000s making a proper logo and discussing with that person. And I trust, if he did the Firefox logo, the guy, and he's charging me a couple grand, if I kick it back to him a couple times, he's not going to be pissed off.
Right.
But if you're also trying to get the $250, $500 price, and you kick it back and you expect an endless amount of revisions, you might want to think, maybe I need to pay another $250 for a revision.
Yeah, so you can go straight to the $250 model, but why not just stay at the $2,000 model or the $1,000 or $750? I mean, the reality is that there's just a bigger problem than price. Yeah. Accessibility is a massive problem. You can't even access designers, or you don't know that actually the guy that you like that draws Iron Man, more than happy to draw you. And you as Iron Man, and they'll do it way less expensively than you think, because that's how difficult the situation is in art.
So you have a broken marketplace. It hasn't congealed, and it seems that the low end has been solved pretty efficiently by 99 Designs or those kind of people, but the high end and the high end value category, I would call it, has not even been addressed. High end results at value based prices. So
I mean, I've looked at 99 Designs and others that are copies. I mean, I see about 12 or 14 of these companies in the space, and I remember this. So whenever you see 12, 14 companies doing the same thing,
your radar goes off. You're like, I've seen this come up on the radar before.
Oh, right. There was like
pattern recognition.
12 to 15 like MP3 players before the iPod, right? And there was like 12 to 15 phones before the iPhone.
And there were 12 to 15 people doing the DeviantArt verticals, one for manga, one for, photography, et cetera.
Something's wrong in that space. And let me give you the numbers. I mean, it sounds impressive. I think they do like 20, 30 million bucks, 50. I don't know. At the bottom of their website, they pay about $1.5 million to designers. That's, designers make $38,000 a year on average in the country. And so therefore, that's the rough equivalent of running a design firm that employs 400 designers. Right. That's not very big. for solving
boutique.
this big problem. It's very boutique.
Yeah, and you know what? Everybody could use a design upgrade. Design is not a static thing; it's a dynamic thing. So even if you have a beautiful logo, it could be refreshed and iterated on. And if there was a way to do it with trust and with excellence, I really think the issue is as much about excellence as it is about. I don't feel using 99 Design in those places. I've used them in the past and gotten good results. I would never say I got an excellent result. I got okay to good, and it takes a little bit of work to push people to get to even good. But now that I'm an excellence junkie, I would easily go to DeviantArt and just be like, I need excellent. Just give me excellent. I don't.
Exactly.
The price.
You need a dream team.
Well, you know, at a certain point, if you think about winning today in design, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's not excellent, you don't win. It's just that easy. If the car is not designed in an excellent fashion, the Prius is, you know, an amazingly designed product. The Tesla, I mean, if it's not excellent, you're just not going to win.
Yeah, that's fair. It's
I mean,
entirely
look
fair.
at the comic book movies, right? Like, I mean, if you compare comic book movies 10 years ago to today, it's like the Avengers, whether you think about the script is perfect or not, but I mean, just visually, it's incredible.
Stunning.
Each one gets better than
I'm
the next.
so excited to go every time.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's my
every
favorite
movie
thing.
just seems to get better in terms of the execution on the design.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So anyway, we're in private beta on dreamup.com.
Dream Up. And is it dreamup.com?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a separate URL. You decided to do it as a separate URL, so the people who are, you know, the mom and pop dry cleaner then could just go to dreamup.com and not have to see the whole DeviantArt, you know, 180,000 submissions a day.
Yeah, of
Here they
course.
can just go in, describe what their project is, accept bids.
Well, for us, green is community, white is our tools, and blue is our professional offerings.
Got it. Very interesting. Logo for a male nude site. Yes. DeviantArt's holiday card. There you go. Yearbook cover. Lanyard. Lanyard. Do you have an event?
Yeah, this is kind of our internal team. Heidi Chambers.
What do you need a lanyard for? Do you have an event?
Well, we
Or did I just bust you?
We have many events, but we have Deviant meets around the world. You know, and they're pretty amazing. I mean, I did a world tour about 2 years ago. I'd love to do another one soon. Have you heard of that I did this thing? I went crowd surfing for real.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So let's see if I can get these things up here. I mean, we started in Sydney, and we literally told people we would be at the Opera House in a day. So just one day, I had no idea how many people would show up, so I was nervous because we had so many members there. And so we show up to the Opera House, and it looks like this, right? That's
Wow.
me.
That's 50 people.
It's like, well, it's 80. So
Wow.
like, okay, wow, this is unbelievable. So then we kept going. That's, you know, Singapore at the Merlion, 300 people. All these are what you want to talk about crowdsourcing. Yeah. Right? This is a 24-hour crowdsource. We'll meet you at the Merlion. And this is the kind of result. It's 300 people. This is the Louvre in Paris. This is
IMP designed controversy. What do you think of the pyramid?
The pyramid.
The IMP pyramid. Some people hate that they added that to the Louvre. Some people think it's brilliant.
I think it's gorgeous.
Me too.
Yeah.
Love it. It is the Louvre as far as I'm concerned.
It is, yeah. Warsaw, Poland, Toronto.
God, that's got to be great to just go
Los
all those
Angeles.
places and see all these folks like just come together.
600 people at Harrison Memorial in London.
Where is that?
Hyde Park in London.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean this really
great photo too.
It's amazing.
It's great to have that community sort of stuff. So a lot of buyout offers for the site.
You know, we
how many do you field a year?
You know, this is kind of.
No, just, I mean, you don't have to tell me who, but just a ballpark. And are they bankers who come to you? And what do they say? Because they must be a little nervous coming to you because you're such like a legit, like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, we get a lot of mergers, you know, a lot of merger opportunities, and we get a lot of, you know, people interested for all kinds of reasons and investors and things. But you know, we've never had this issue. I mean, the truth is that DeviantArt's a very valuable, you know, property, very consistent. If you watch our traffic, it's just solid, you know, year after year growth. But it's not about that. It's about making sure that it's here forever, you know, because it's a service that's really important to artists worldwide, and it's a promise that we've made that we intend to keep. So we have to make sure that the business model of it is so strong.
Yeah, it's a trust.
That it's undeniable why it has to be kept the way that it's been designed. Right. And I would always be there. I mean,
do you think where that's going to go
happens,
eventually if you decide, like, hey, we're not going to sell this? I mean, you could sell Dream Up at some point, I guess, or whatever. But
you think at some point, 20 years from now, you guys have built it into such an amazing business, it just becomes a trust. And you're just like, you know what, this is in the public's interest. We'll just make it a trust and have a board that perpetuates it because you want it to live beyond you. 100 years from now, you want this to exist.
Yeah, I mean, there's many ways to look at it. Brewster Kahle from Alexa and the Internet Archive, he looked at it and he was like, keep doing what you're doing. This is 12 years at this point of archived history of the online arts.
Right.
Perfectly archived. Every
not only is it
everything.
Not only is it the online arts, but this represents all the offline art as well. Because there's no difference between the online and offline. It's all the traditional.
Yeah.
They're scanning it in or taking pictures. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So where things came from, I mean, it'll be an incredible thing to study. We've had a few researchers study DeviantArt as part of their PhDs, and we've been very fortunate in that way.
Some amazing discovery that they've had? What was the most thing that
there was a
surprised you?
sociological study done about why people participate, what's in it, and of course, getting into it is I can't even give you a summary. I mean, it's so in-depth. It was 3 years of somebody's life.
Yeah.
But, it's just, I think we really are on the bleeding edge of demonstrating what a vertical is, what a vertically integrated community is, and how it accelerates society and humanity.
Is there some other community you look at for guidance, inspiration, best practices? I mean, you guys are obviously in the elite of the elite, but are there other ones that you look at and say, wow, just Reddit or 4chan is really informing what we do? Or you look at it and say, wow, these are really interesting.
I look at most things and I go, okay, I totally see what they're doing. It's not unique or new to me yet.
Right.
I see a lot of user interface designs that I really love.
Who do you love?
I like Pinterest. I've been looking closely at it. I like it.
It seems like they've cleaned up a lot of what you've done. They seem to have, really with the white background and the sort of just very good framing and stuff like that. It's almost like a cleaned up, I would say, 2.0 version of DeviantArt or whatever, 8.0 version.
Well, it's a very different thing. I mean, one is DeviantArt's a source community, of things that you can pin, right? I mean, but Pinterest is a place where you pin your interests.
Right.
It's not necessarily a birthplace or a creation platform for content.
But if you did that, I mean, the design, you have to admit, is very clean and appealing.
Oh, yeah. So absolutely.
Now that mom and dad know how to do this, or your aunt and your uncle, if you introduce this concept, and that sort of design, would you fear that it would screw up the existing community? Like, you have to protect that existing community. You talked about the walls you create and the friction you create to keep the community honest.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost impossible for you to add that without jeopardizing the main community.
You can do a lot. I mean, we don't want to copy and have it be like, oh yeah, DeviantArt just looked at Pinterest. Like, that's not how you can't do that without losing faith, and besides, the Pinterest model isn't necessarily
losing faith in yourself, that you're just like,
us.
Okay, my career has gotten my inspiration and my work is so bankrupt that I could just copy whatever the latest fad is.
Well, no, I mean, I think we're so adamant about our design and thinking about where the community should go that in fact we take more of a matured view of it. We will pause development and stop making the front page look awesome for a while until we can leapfrog to the next phase.
Right. I mean, it has been 4 years since you redesigned.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So to you, this is a 4 or 5 year think it through kind of process.
If you look closely at more like this, you'll see that we'll be producing, our mobile strategy, how you can consume DeviantArt on a dedicated screen in your home. How you can access it on iPads.
I would so love to be able to just have like the best of Iron Man and
it's a
best of whatever just be on the latest artwork be on my refrigerator or something.
Yeah, how about a custom art feed for every person? One where you not only get the best of the best that you like, but also in the frequency that you enjoy, the updates, the new stuff from the community, so you're always in tune with the arts. And then also all of the events in your area, so that you can actually start going back to museums.
Why don't you open a museum or a gallery?
Well, why would I do that when there's already so many of them?
And it would just be interesting.
And nobody's going to them.
Because the same reason when you show that picture of the Sydney Opera House is that you have this fan. If you just did if in downtown LA you created a space and you just put a different deviant artist in every week in rotation, it would be the most popular art gallery in the world.
It would, and it wouldn't be good enough because the arts have a bigger problem. And the arts have a bigger problem because the reason that you like art is different than the reason I like art. And there's a lot of factors in that. So I don't want to send people to an experience that's the same old experience.
But I want to be surprised, and I trust your curation judgment. I disagree. I would love if there was a DeviantArt gallery in downtown, and I just knew like 5 weekends a year I could just go there any Friday or Saturday night and just see something awesome.
Well, what if you knew every day that there was 10 events in your area, and they were all inside of the spectrum that you like.
I prefer your judgment. If you guys run, I would prefer the community's judgment. In all honesty, there's just too much stuff in the world, and I'm looking for more curation. I would like people to program my life a little more. I wish people would just tell me, like, see these 10 movies a year.
Well, it is
if
all
somebody I
curated.
trust said, I know it is, but I would just like somebody to just like go to these 10 restaurants, go to these 10 movies. Like I'm constantly looking for more curation because there's too much stuff out there.
Yeah, you got to see it. You got to see it from the perspective that I'm seeing it, which is that you have a massive human curated community. You have all of these segments. You know, you could never consume the daily submissions that occur on DeviantArt in a day, and so you can never consume all of DeviantArt in a lifetime. So I don't. It doesn't grow the size of the arts for me to inefficiently send you through the system. It does grow the size of the arts if I can give you a pocket, and of course you can always browse the other world, right? But give you a pocket to start so that the arts are accessible to you, and then from there, open up your local art community to you so that you can access it also with great selection.
But you said it yourself, it's broken. The local art community is broken. I say you open in each of the 10 major art cities a DeviantArt gallery where whoever's the most followed by the community gets to put their work up.
Yeah.
Well, or just anybody gets to put anybody who's in the top most whatever followed gets to put a piece up whenever they want. They just schedule to put it up. It's like an open mic night.
Yeah, no, and that's fair, and I think we can dynamically organize that so our members can lead those directions.
That'd be incredible.
But we build tech, so that's what we've got to do. We're going to build tech to solve these problems, but that's exactly the right idea.
Man, it's you know what? It's so great having you on because it's such when you reach such great levels of success. Again, overnight took you only 12 days, 12 weeks, 12. I mean, this is the thing, Paul Graham wrote this piece about startups are about growth, they're growth. But also, it's to a certain extent, it's also about soul and art. It's not just growth for growth's sake, and I feel like that's something that's getting perverted right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Paul Graham is perverting it or anything like that, but I do think that when you look at the Y Combinator startups. I was talking to one of the most prominent angels, and they said to me, he feels like they're gaming growth instead of soulfully pursuing their passions. And I just thought about that for a second, like growth at growth cost, but removing soul from an entrepreneurial thing, that just sort of kills it. There's no long-term strategy there.
Yeah, I'm completely in sync. I am where I'm supposed to be, and that's a beautiful feeling.
It is, isn't it? You wake up every day and you're like, hey, I love what I'm doing.
Cannot wait to. I can't go to sleep, but I can't wait to get to work.
That's great, man. Hey, everybody, go check out DeviantArt and check out dreamup.com. Anything else you're plugging? You have any other projects coming out? I feel like I should plug something.
I'm a brand ambassador.
You are. There's nothing for me to plug. People already know how great DeviantArt is. But people can go to Dream. Here's what people should do: go to dreamup.com and try it. Go describe some project, get some bids, and try it for your next project. That's all I'm asking you to do. Go to dreamup.com and try that, and give them some feedback.
Code is I have a dream. That's how you type in I have a dream as the private beta code.
Oh, I have a dream as a private beta code. There you go. Dream up. And thank you at GoToMeeting. Meeting is believing, and Igloo Software. Thank you so much. Go win that free iPad mini. Well, it's very generous of them. Go to This Week In. Go to igloosoftware.com/thisweekin. Thank you, Brandis. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Kieran. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you, Makeup Jen. Thank you, everybody who works on the program and doing a great job. We'll see you next time on This Week in Startups. Oh, stick around for This Week in Web Design coming right up. We're going to keep the feed up and live. Jose from This Week in Web Design. Bye-bye.